Ah, yes. Conspiracy theories abound. And of course, I wanted to get you guys' attention. ChemTrails and AntiVax. What are you drinking? Right? Let's be honest. ChemTrails that's a lot. First of all, it's contrails. And it's less pollution than your neighbor driving his crappy truck that's spitting out like smoke out the back of it, and your entire neighborhood with SUVs and cars and trucks, and the freeway you drive up and down with all the semis on it. Seriously. And for the anti-vax people, you guys crack me up. You guys are talking about stuff that's been tested for over a century. Really. And never does a vaccine get approved, especially not here in this country. The first time that we haven't had those massive amount of tests and everything else, it was the rush for COVID. And they were working globally 24/7. Massive computers. We have technology now that helps us really get this right. So why even have a conversation about it right now? Because I'm going to tell you where you need to be looking. And in the about for this video is a link so you can look at your water supply coming out of the treatment plants near you. Just use your zip code or what state you live in. I would recommend using your zip code. It should come up with the one that's closest to you, most likely the one that is supplying you. But you should be able, it should also have a couple that you can look and see if one of the other ones is where you're getting your water. Now, keep in mind that a lot of water companies buy their water from another place. They don't actually treat the water. They buy it from a treatment plant. And so you might need to figure out which one they're using, but it's usually one relatively close to you, okay? But what you really need to start worrying about is what's in the water coming out of the water treatment plants. And if you're one of those, oh, but I drink out of a well. Here's a news flash for you. Every single private well that I've ever read about actually being tested is worse than the local water supply coming out of the local treatment plant. That's no joke. If you're on a farm, the nitrates from the fertilizer in your water are probably, your well is probably full of it. You're poisoning yourself. Facts. Because we know for a fact that your nitrates, your fertilizer, and all that stuff, especially in those where it's a large industrial farming company, we know that ends up in the water supply downriver, downstream, for major cities. That's where their nitrates come from. It doesn't come from their local stuff. They don't use fertilizer. They have stuff coming out of the companies and manufacturing dumping because, you know, in 2022, corporations manufacturing dumped 198 million pounds of chemicals into the U.S. waterways. I'm not even making that up. And that's just the stuff they have to report. Oh my God. Can you imagine what they don't? Well, you'll be able to when you read those, when you go look for your own water supply issues. But I decided that I was going to look where I could think of. I have friends, you know, people I know and care about or used to. And so I looked up Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, California, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. And you know what I found? Every place I looked had at least these three things: HAA5, HAA9, and THHMs. Now, they also had other stuff. Like, a friend of mine likes to take a granddaughter to this lake in Kansas. And the town where that lake actually gets its water and vice versa has arsenic in addition to those three. Arsenic. Whenever anybody goes to that lake, they're bathing in it. They're swallowing it. And it's at levels that's unacceptable for human consumption. per milliliter, microliter. For reals. That's what you need to be worried about. Oh no, let's make up this imaginary shit and chase our tails around so that everybody's trying to talk sense to you, but you're not able to talk sense with us. And then, because you're so focused on that, everybody's trying to figure out how to make you stop talking nonsense instead of us actually talking about the real issue, which is our damn drinking water. I only drink specific types of bottled water. You know why? Because there's a food company that actually just takes tap water out of somewhere right near Grand Rapids, Michigan. No joke. And if you remember, Grand Rapids, Michigan, just a few years ago had the black algae scare where the federal government had to ship in bottled water. Again, no joke. You can't even make this shit up. So those three things I said, HAA5, HAA9, and THHMs. Never mind the stuff like PFAs and PFBs that already were contaminants. No, never mind those. We've got a whole new slew because, you know, they knew they needed to start cleaning that stuff up 20 plus 30 years ago. Oh, but HAA5, HAA9, and THHMs account for developmental issues with kids. Count bladder, kidney, liver cancers, birth defects. In addition to every type of cancer possible, they screw with your reproductive system. Uterine cancer, testicular cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer. Metabolism issues. Maybe you're not fat. Maybe most Americans aren't fat because of the food we eat. Although I could argue you eat a lot of chemicals in your food too. But maybe it's just in your water because HAA9 is known to screw with your metabolism, your thyroid, your basic ability to control your weight. These have the ability to reduce medications and vaccinations' effectiveness. Y'all laughing at me when I say I only drink certain types of bottled water. I only drink certain types of bottled water for real. Because even if you buy a filtration system, your house, most of those filters will get a large portion of it. But it depends on what kind of filter you buy and whether they make it for your refrigerator. Seriously, let's talk about the issues we can fix. And oh, by the way, if you live in a red state, if you're still voting red, they're never going to fix it. They are in the corporations' pockets, and the corporations have you chasing around some made-up bullshit chemtrails and some made-up bullshit anti-vax crap, which is putting your kids and other people's kids in danger, while they know all of those real issues associated with what they've been telling you is the vaccines is actually coming right out of your water. You're feeding your formula to your baby. You're mixing that formula powder with that water, and they know it's causing brain issues. They know it's causing developmental issues. They know it's causing metabolism issues and immune system issues, let alone the long-term effects of cancers. Let's talk about it for a change. Now, you might still want to vote red, but I'll tell you, I don't trust them. They've blocked every piece of legislation to stop this and fix it. So I don't trust them. As usual, think about it. Check out your water supply with the link. Peace.